What's up, everybody? Welcome to Dad's Expensive Hobby.
What's up?
Today we are looking at the bonkers toy company Skibidi Toilet Plungerman. I don't really know anything much about this toy, to be honest with you. I know that this is from some kind of running series on like YouTube or something, but I've been seeing a lot of them at Walmarts and Targets, and Gunner said, well, why don't you just do a review on one of them? So I basically picked him out of the bunch to do a video on. So let's get him out of the box and take a look at him real quick. All right, we got Plungerman out of the box here with his dual plungers of death or whatever. But let's do first things first. Let's see how tall he is. To the top of his camera head, he is exactly 6 inches tall, which would make the entire figure 15 centimeters, give or take. That works just fine for me. Let's start with these. We're going to do his aesthetic and his like articulation all at the same time, because some of his articulation and aesthetic kind of go hand in hand. As you can tell, he is basically just a black figure with one little touch of gray here in the tie. I don't think any of this is actual paint. I think the entire thing is plastic, but just there's a couple of different finishes on it. You know, his head is a camera here, and it is just black plastic that the camera's made out of. I think that's a little blue sticker right in there. It's supposed to represent like the light for the camera or whatever. His suit does look pretty good. It's kind of got like a nice little lustrous satin finish on it, if the camera is showing you that, for like the suit part, and it looks pretty good. The main like long trench coat here is like a flexible plastic, and that's pretty cool. It almost feels like you could take it off, but you really can't, because I've kind of pulled around on his arms just a little bit, and I'm afraid I would break it. And honestly, if you open it up and look, the figure would look kind of weird if you actually took this outer coat off, even though it kind of does move around freely. The inner suit actually has the same finish, but then like on his shirt in here and his tie, they have more of like a glossy type finish, and so does his gloves. They're more glossy looking, and his boots. And the boots actually look pretty good with that kind of glossy finish on them, so it looks kind of nice. Let's do his articulation really quick, because like I said, with his aesthetic, there is no paint, but the finish that's on it actually does look kind of nice. I wish these buttons maybe had been painted or something, but they weren't, so well.
Hold up.
What was that? Anyways, sorry. Let's start with his head. Now, this little camera head will move around really well. It doesn't look up too far, because just the sculpt and the way his head is made, you know. But it'll look down pretty good and give you some nice angles. And his head, it's kind of hard to pop off here, if you can bear with me for just a second. There we go, we got it off. There's no movement out of the neck. It's just like a cylinder down in there. But he is on a ball peg right here, if you can see that, and it kind of moves, but not really, just a little bit up inside there. So, you know, not the best head and neck joint, but I guess it's kind of serving our purpose. This is just a little $20 figure. It's not that big of a deal. His shoulders come out just shy of 90. I don't really know why he would need to have a big bunch of shoulder articulation, but you know, he doesn't really have it, and that's because of the way these shoulders are made. If you can see that right there, it's kind of like that little bladed looking shoulder right there. It just doesn't allow it to come up too high. You can get 360 out of it. He does have a bicep swivel, so I like that pretty well, and he does have a double jointed elbow that works really well too. Look at that, that's some nice range. Doesn't look great because it's one of those pinless, like insert molded kind of elbows, and I don't like that sliced look through there, but you know, what are you gonna do? His wrist is on a hinge, and it's kind of like a vertical hinge actually. So, you know, for him holding his little plungers, that's actually the proper hinge on there, so I gotta give him points for that. He has a couple of different spots for articulation in his diaphragm, surprisingly. It moves around pretty well. If you can see, he can crunch forward, and the jacket prevents him from leaning back as far as he probably could, but he does lean back pretty well, and he tilts, and you get a lot of twist from that diaphragm break. You can actually twist him all the way around, so I'm pretty sure it's probably just a ball peg in there. But there's, I think, another ball peg down here at the waist, because the legs can move independently of him as well, but they're hindered a little bit by just the under jacket of the suit down here, and by this as well. So you don't get a lot of kicking out of his legs. That's about as far as they're going to go, but I don't think he's like a martial artist, so it doesn't really matter. And they're just on little ball pegs up in there. If you can see that, you probably can't. Not much kick forward. They did, because you can lift it up, they did sculpt butt cheeks on him. So you can't kick back very much either, but that's okay. He can get swivel right there at the out of that ball socket up there, but he also has a thigh swivel cut in there. And my problem is when you twist it, it breaks the sculpt because of the hem or whatever, like crease of the pants is right through there. When you use the thigh swivel, it breaks that and doesn't look real good. Pinless double jointed knee, a little stiff because he's brand new, but get nice range out of it, so I cannot complain there. His whole ankle is a ball hinge. The entire ankle is, and it's actually sculpted into the bottom of the pants, and it goes way down and it'll come way up, so I have no problem with that. And of course it has a rocker. No toe hinge, but there's no love lost between me and toe hinges, so I have zero problem with that. For what he is, he moves around actually pretty good, and even though he has a lack of paint, you know, there are people out there that don't like paint, they just like sculpted plastic. This is definitely the type of figure for you, because there ain't a damn bit of paint on him. But he does have pretty nice finishes. Like I said, that lustrous finish on his suit and jacket and stuff looks really good, and the glossy on the gloves and the boots certainly works in it. So he actually does look, you know, halfway decent for what he is. Accessory wise, he comes with two little plungers. I don't know if he beats people to death with them or if he attacks toilets. I don't know what the hell he does, but they're hard plastic, and it's just, you know, red plastic right there, and the handle is just kind of a copperish bronze colored plastic, and he holds them in his little hands just like this, and I think that looks halfway decent, you know, him holding plungers and coming at you to kill you or whatever it is. But that's, you know, he's a $20 figure, and that is the extent of his of his accessories. That's all he comes with. But, you know, for 20 bucks, I guess maybe we could have gotten more. I don't know anything about him or what he does, you know, if he were to need more. I mean, his name is Plungerman, and he comes with two plungers, so I mean, it's in the name, I guess. You know, he maxed out, so I'll give him full credit for that. One complaint is loose joints. The legs are a little bit loose.
Holy Jesus.
But I forgot to cover that when we were talking about his articulation. Let's compare him real quick to a couple of other figures just so you can get an idea of how he stands. He's a little bit taller than Cowboy Wolverine from Marvel Legends. Here he is with Super Saiyan Full Power Goku from SH Figuarts. He's a little bit taller basically than the entire figure there. And here is little Gohan from SH Figuarts, and he's way taller than him. So that gives somebody kind of an idea of where he stands height-wise. The ankles are also a little bit loose. I know I mentioned the legs, but the ankles are a little bit loose too. I'm having a little bit of trouble standing him up. There we go. Final thoughts on him. Like I said, I don't know anything about the source material, but looks-wise, the figure doesn't look too terrible, and he does move pretty well. If you're somebody that's a fan of this, or if your kid is into this, it's 20 bucks well spent, I guess. You're definitely getting your 20 bucks worth. Maybe you could got an extra accessory, but I don't know what he would come with. But that's really all I've got for him. If this is your jam, you know, go right ahead and spend 20 bucks. I mean, it's not going to break your wallet, and you're not going to be super disappointed with the figure. That's all I've got for Skibidi Toilet here. If you haven't subscribed, pause the video, scroll down, give us a like, give us a comment, subscribe to us, all that good stuff. Check out our other videos. And with all that said, this has been Dad with Dad's Expensive Hobby, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.